Well, Professor Sahar Aziz is Director of the Centre for Security, Race and Rights at Rutgers Law School. She's in New Jersey and joins us now. Thank you very much, Professor. So the vote is scheduled to happen next week. Do you think it should be delayed?
Absolutely. This is a very serious allegation. This is an allegation of attempted rape that goes straight to the character of a nominee to the highest court, which is going to have significant power over the rights of women in particular, because there is a movement attempting to reverse the Roe v. Wade decision that came out in 1973, which makes abortion legal and makes it unconstitutional to pass laws that prohibit abortion. So this is a very important issue to women all over the country, and I think it's very important for everyone to be sure that this nominee is not someone who attempted to rape a woman when he was in high school.
Of course, we should say again that Brett Kavanaugh denies the allegations against him, and indeed the committee for the Republicans say that they think it's disturbing that these uncorroborated allegations from more than 35 years ago during high school have surfaced on the eve of a committee vote. That point about it being 35 years ago, it's going to be incredibly difficult to prove these allegations. Should his appointment really be held up?
I think the point is that at the very least the woman should be given an opportunity to tell her side of the story, and that it's really more about an investigation and going through the full due diligence because of the weighty responsibility that comes with being a justice on the U.S. Supreme Court. And rushing it would jeopardize the credibility of the court, and I think that the cost of delaying the vote is minimal compared to the cost of allowing someone on the court whose moral character may be highly problematic and flawed.
So many of the stories in the Me Too movement, as well as including serious allegations of sexual misconduct, are about abuse of authority. In this case, they were both teenagers. Do you think these allegations can fit into the narrative around Me Too?
Well, most of the charges of sexual assault and sexual harassment came against men who at that point in time had power, but oftentimes the women didn't have a lot of power, and maybe those men were rising in power. And frankly, if you're a 15-year-old girl and you believe that you just got raped and you think no one's going to believe you, it's very common for victims of this type of trauma not to speak up. And it's very common for them to internalize it. And in fact, we've seen this in the epidemic of sexual assault on college campuses. So in many ways, this story is consistent with what's happened for many other young women. But it's, again, not necessarily so much about whether she is, in fact, can prove it. It's more about making sure that this type of serious allegation is fully investigated and that the vote isn't rushed, because this is such an important decision that will affect the country for decades to come, and more specifically is going to affect the rights of women precisely because Roe v. Wade is on the table.
Well, it certainly promises to be an interesting few days, doesn't it? Professor Aziz, good to get your analysis on that. Thank you very much. That was Sahar Aziz from the Rutgers Law School.